Hello, hello. Check, check. Mic check. Is this thing on? I'll give people a minute to find the chat. It is late. I am 4 minutes late for my 11 o'clock that I just announced at about 4 minutes to 11. So nobody was expecting me to go on except me. I didn't realize how late it had gotten. Oh, it's because of the daylight savings, right? Oh, it's so funny how that 1 hour just kind of gets you, doesn't it? Because I was like, how did it get so late? It doesn't feel like 11 o'clock. It only feels like 10. All right, so let's just get rolling. I have some stuff I want to share with you guys, and I don't want to be on long. So let's do the old intro. Everything I say is simply my opinion for the sake of hoping to start a conversation, open up a discussion, learn something, be educational. All of my videos are made for the tube of you and me, and it's an infotainment platform. I've got my chat turned on to live chat. Make sure that you're still subscribed. If you are subscribed, if you're not, please consider subbing up. Share a video of mine with somebody that you think might like my channel. Turn on your notification bell to ring. Hit that like button. And I got my notes. Where's my notes? They're right here. I got my water. I've got no wax in my braces at all. So we're going to see how this goes. Okay, just yesterday I was saying how sometimes it takes a long time for things to happen. You know, bureaucracy. And sometimes things just happen in the blink of an eye. So a few weeks ago, Leslie Wexner did his deposition right outside of Columbus, Ohio. And I haven't finished watching the entire 5 hours, but now I really want to, because I know a lot of people are aware of the connection, but a lot of people aren't. So Jim Jordan worked at OSU for a long time and helped. Hello, what's up from me to you, Taro? Are you familiar with Jim Jordan at OSU? He helped cover up the SMEX abuse going on with the coach and the wrestling team for like 20 years. Like, what a nightmare. Hey, Billy, darling, how are you? And today he quit. Wait, no, not Jim Jordan. Jim Jordan's now working for El Presidente. He's part of the cabinet or something like that. The president of OSU quit today. Like, he's out of there. Like, no notice, nothing. Just, I'm done. I'm out. Which he's supposed to give 6 months notice. But they're like not even sweating it. They're like, okay, yeah, whatever. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. I think it has to do with Leslie Wexner in his deposition. And for people that don't know OSU and Leslie Wexner's connection, Leslie and Little E donated a lot of money to the university. Leslie is an alumni, and he has a lot of buildings named after him on campus, and the students don't like it. And the students have been going to the board demanding that they take his name off of the buildings. And they're like, we understand your passion. Thank you for your input. Next. So I think they're going to have to take his freaking name off the damn buildings. I mean, there's so many people that were traumatized by Jim Jordan and the coach. I forget that guy's name. And then with all this stuff with the Trumpstein files and Leslie Wexner's connection to all of it, not to mention all the people abused in the Abercrombie and Fitch situation with Michael Jeffries, who was arrested a year and a half ago and not punished because he was deemed incompetent to stand trial because he's like 80 years old, which I'm sure that the Trumpster fire would do the same thing. I'm sure Wexner would do the same thing. Anyway, I was all excited about that. Are you guys excited about it too? Yep, perv, 100%. He's out, cuz leave those kids alone. Oh, I'm so glad you guys are aware. I am so excited. I mean, there's a lot of movement. Christine Nome is kind of the first domino, in my opinion, and now they're all gonna be dropping like flies. So it's not just in the UK and overseas where we're seeing results. So the war is over, or is it just beginning? Jesus appointed the Trumpster fire to end the world for the rapture, right? You guys knew that, right? I'm sure you were fully aware. So that's what's happening. And we know that the Trumpster fire has a direct line to Jesus because he tells us this all the time. And now it's just been posted, the strait that all the barges with the oil on them need to go through, that's been blocked up. It's been posted on social media for countries that will take down, dismantle their ambassadors of the United States and ambassadors of Israel. Will be able to get their oil, no problem. No problemo. And right before I came on, it sounds like the new Ayatollah got hit with some kind of ammunition, but he's not fatally hit. Did you guys hear this? I don't know if it's true or not. It was like right as I was coming on. Yeah, they are crazy end timers. Strait of Hormuz. Thank you, dear. You're always there with the facts, Billy. I appreciate you. Because, yeah, I'm just rolling. And so I want to get to this thing that I really want to share. So you guys know the story maybe of, well, of course, you know the story of last summer in Kerr County. And I know that from me to you, Tarot used to live in Kerr County, right? So when the Trumpster fire went to visit Kerr County a week after that nasty flood last year, that I do believe was engineered with the seeding of the clouds, with the manipulation of the river levees, and then there was a storm, but I think that it was enhanced. I do. And then we also know that Mystic Camp or Camp Mystic might have a connection to the E-Files, that little E had written a check for 6 figures to the Bank of Kerr County. That's in the E-Files. And then I think it was some of you that said, yeah, there's a long history with the girls' camp there at Camp Mystic. That's pretty sick. Yes, Ingram and Kerrville. Okay, so did you catch last summer when the Trumpster fire went to visit a week later? He had this 9-minute interview on Fox News. And what I wanted to do, maybe it's 12 minutes, let me see. I wanted to read you guys the transcript because it's crazy insane. And then after that, maybe play him saying it. Because I think a lot of times when he's talking, we just take for granted that he's insane and we just let it slide. But when somebody else says the same words, you're like, WTF, you're not even making sense. So I'm going to just read you the transcript. So this is a young man interviewing Trump. And let me just text my kid real quick. Of course, she's texting me when I'm doing this. That's all right. Got it. Okay. So Trump reflects on tragic Texas flooding. This is so bad. Like he's such a ditz. It's a weird word to use on a manly man, on a strong man. But we know he's none of that. He's weak. He's pathetic. He's I think he's effeminate, actually. I think that he tries to hide behind the manliness. Honestly, I think he has a huge crush on Daddy Vladdy. I think he had a huge crush on Little E. I think he has a big crush on Mondami. The list goes on. MIB, MSB. Yeah, MSB. Big crush on MSB. I think he's in love with Bad Bunny. I think that's why he was going off the rails with Bad Bunny. Those are his types. He likes the tall, dark, and handsome, right? Okay. Also, Kerr County was the only county who refused the Biden money to install a flood warning siren. Right. And that was so sad. It took them so many hours to get that code red going once the first responder that called in at, I think it was about 2:30 in the morning, that the river had flooded. So the road was covered and there was no passage in or out. And then it wasn't until 7 a.m. It was like 5 hours later that they finally did the code red. That was horrible. Okay, so let me try this. Let me try just reading you guys. The interviewer, it's not doing the closed caption. Okay, so his name is Will. He says, "First, I want to thank you, Mr. President, for being here as Texans, as Americans, although..." Okay, I'm not going to worry so much about what he says. I'm just going to read you what Trump says. It's insane. I'm just like in the first 15 seconds and it's already crazy. Sorry, let me cue it up. So this young reporter, Will, is speaking with Trump. And I started to read his stuff here. He just is thanking him as Texans, as Americans. And then Trump says something. God, I got to get it right to the very second, like, so it makes sense. Dang it. Dang it all. Try this one more time. Can you hear me okay, you guys? Okay, here we go. Although the presidency can seem far away and focused on international affairs, it has never been something far from you to be in touch with ordinary Americans. I'm not kidding you. That sentence doesn't even make sense. I'm not going to repeat it. I'm going to keep going. Audio good. Thank you. Thanks for being here, you guys. I forgot to ask how you're doing. I think it means a lot. So, the people in this room and this community have been unbelievable. Nobody has ever seen anything like it, frankly. I hate the way he always says the same things. Drives me nuts. We have a wave that's almost 40 feet high rushing through this. You would think it was a dam that burst. Maybe you can understand that, but you can't understand this. Did he just give it away about the dam that burst? He's always telling on himself, isn't he? Anna Bees, hello, my dear. So how is everybody doing tonight? Did you listen to Trump's sister's interview on NPR with Terry Gross? She literally said when Donnie was coming home from college, we all thought he was going to come home and come out as being gay. I think I have heard that because, yeah, he's very into drapes and ballrooms and interior designing furniture. Yeah. Was it his sister or was it Yeah, it wasn't his niece. It wasn't Mary Trump. If he would just embrace his true self and quit torturing the world. Okay. You can understand that, but you can't understand this. And then Will says, I just want to thank everybody here in the room, in the community itself. It has been incredible the weight they pulled together. Sorry, that was Trump speaking. I'm doing a terrible job with this, aren't I? I'm trying. Thanks for the hearts. Okay. Will says, what you were looking at here, Mr. President, as is the brain center of the search and rescue to coordinate the process of notifying the next of kin. Understand the problems. You have the city of Kerr County EMS, a lot of on the tiers, something, something. They're very talented. Oh, wait, no, this is so stupid. Is it me that's stupid, or is it this that's stupid? I think this is him speaking. I just want to thank everybody here in the room and in the community. It has been incredible. Yeah, that was him. And then Will, the brain center of the rescue to coordinate the process of notifying next of kin. Okay, I think this is Trump. It's not really telling me which one is speaking when. I could print it out. Understand the problems. You have the city of Kerr County EMS, a lot of tiers. What would you say to everyone? They are talented and they have a big heart. That's Trump. They are talented and they have a big heart. And I just spoke to some family members who lost a child, for the most part, lost a child, and they lost everything in many ways. This man does not make sense. And, I didn't want to break this down because it's so sensitive for people who lost a child. I mean, it's insane. You don't want to criticize someone trying to portray empathy, even if they suck at it. But I think enough time has passed that it's okay to break it down. Okay. This is Trump. I just think it is amazing what you were doing. Real talent in this room. I've seen your work. I've seen you at work, and you have real talent. And it's a shame because nothing much you can do when you see devastation like I do. But this is an amazing job they have done. Okay, this is where it really gets crazy. Are you ready? I showed up in Ohio, and that was a good thing to do. And I made permanent friends in Ohio, in that little community that they had the train. Going through it was a mess. He's talking about East Palestine. And the other people did not show up for a year and a half. And now I've got an ad. And frankly, I made real friends there. We did a good job. We helped them out. We will help this could be duty as well. Help this community. They love each other. Just this group of people. They love each other. They love the community, and they will rebuild. They want to rebuild. One person I spoke to, a lot of people did not hear one person that wants to leave. And some lost a daughter, 2 daughters even. And it is tough. It is a tough thing they are going through, but an amazing community. I think I have an obligation as president. I really have an obligation to do. I have done at many times, but this is as bad as I have seen. And then Will speaks, and then here we go with President Trumpster fire again. Texas has been great, and you have been great, and you have been doing very well, I have to say. If I can interject, he has very high ratings since it was a big success. So I have to say that. Okay, here's Trump again. They told me stories, and I'm a little late for this because I did not want to rush. He got there a week later. I did not want to rush. I'm a little late for this because I did not want to rush. Spent quite a bit of time over there, very late for the governor in there. And he was waiting with some of his people. But he fully understands. He has done a great job. He has been a terrific governor. This governor, they call him Hot Wheels. No offense to people in wheelchairs, but this guy. Been a terrific governor. And actually, we met him at the plane and the helicopter. We went here together to get here. It is a tough go with the roads and all the blockages and everything else. But what I learned in that room from some other people that I spoke to, I just really know how much they love their family, and I wanted them to talk. I said, "You have pictures of your daughter?" And they showed me pictures of their daughters, and they talked about how great a student she was in one case, and just different things about their daughter. And I let them talk, and they were so happy to be able to talk about their child that they just lost. They can't even believe it. And sometimes you wake up and a week or two from now, you realize what happened. Right now, a lot of people don't even know what happened. It happened so fast. But whatever the office of president, I think whoever is here has to be here for a thing like this. This is a real tragedy. This man is such a dummy. This is a real tragedy. Really, they feel the love for the community. They want to rebuild. They talk about, we will rebuild, we will come back. It is the only place that people should grow up. They talk about the community more than anything. But remember, most of the people at the camp, they didn't live there. They came from all over, not just Texas, but all over. More than anything else, which is a beautiful thing I see that sometimes they don't. Sometimes they want to get out of the community. I've seen that as well, but they really talk about the love of this community. Yet teaches, let me see, I missed a second there. If I can rewind it just a second. No, I can't. This is so hard, you guys. I was at the 8-minute mark, I think. Let me see what you guys are saying. This is a lot harder than I thought it was going to be. Okay. You know how he always has to make it about himself? Always. How's he going to make all these 118 people that drowned? How's he going to make that about himself? Any guesses? Okay, I'm going to see what you guys are saying and then try to reestablish where I'm at. You guys are all chatty. Thank you for being here. Other guys, LOL girls, you make me laugh. Pin message. Okay. Nothing against LGBTQ community. By the way, I am a queer person myself, and I just think Trump psychology is deep and troubled. He's a bully. Thank you for pointing that out, my dear. Absolutely nothing at all against LGBTQ ever. It's just people that lie to themselves and lie to the rest of the world that I have an issue with personally. And I understand for people that are in the closet, Lindsey Graham, but come on. I mean, Lindsey Graham is a great example because he is, in my opinion, obviously being blackmailed heavily right now. That man is bonkers. And it's just like nobody freaking cares, most people are fine with it, and if they're not, screw them. Right? Ingram and Kerrville are hurting from their decisions, what they voted for. Full stop. It's awful. I feel you, dear. It is insane. And like I said, I waited a long time before breaking this down, but honestly, I had a lot of trouble finding it too. And so I just found it today, finally. I made a short out of this one part that we're getting up to, and it got taken down immediately last summer. And it's the highlight of it. We're almost there. From me, I agree. He is a bully 100%. He doesn't make sense when he talks. Not at all. Bonkers. I know, but it's so funny because when he's talking, we don't expect him to make sense. So we just like let it go. But if someone else is reading the transcript, you're like, speak English, speak American. Come on. Right. I got to go to bed. Yeah, I know it's late. Thanks for coming in and saying hi, my dear. Get up at 4. Ouch. Thanks for doing the good work. Thank you, honey. I appreciate you. And I hope that you can wake up at 4 without too much pain and suffering. And especially with the daylight saving. So it's like getting up at 3. Ouch. Good night from me, Annabee says. And the reporter asked him about he got over almost being taken out. Thank you, my dear. Thank you, Annabee. Okay, let's see where I'm at. So I think I'm backtracking a little bit, but they really talked about the love of this community. Yet it teaches you, man, sometimes it just jumps. But they really talked about the love of this community, yet teaches, the two walls standing, and they want to rebuild it with those two walls stand, think. And this very beautiful, it is cute in a certain way, the love they have for this contributed basis they are going to rebuild. Going to be hard to say. Too much death. Still a lot of people. Still a lot of people. They will rebuild this community. Okay, and then, Will asked him a question about having children and grandchildren and his very narrow escape from death. Does it give you a unique perspective on what people are experiencing in Texas? So thanks for the transition, Annabise, to not forget that he was guided to talk about himself a little bit. So President Trump says in response to Will's question, there is a lot. It was a very crazy time, very surreal if you want to know the truth. This massive crowd of people, and all of a sudden you hear and you feel something that is very unusual. And I get down quickly, get down. The whole thing was just crazy. Hard to believe a year is up. And here we are. A lot of things happened since then, including the presidency. They have an obligation to do good. And I just feel, because I was really saved. I was really saved by somebody with a special, and he points up. They didn't even transcribe it very well. I'm going to play it for you guys too. People that are shooters, I'm not so much of a shooter, but people who are shooters say that it was almost impossible. It was such a mess. It was a hit, but it was a miss. I do get that throbbing feeling like every once in a while. Is that right? Yes. But I know a lot, and I hope the reason I was saved is to save our country. The reason I was saved is to save our country. We had a country that was, I don't want to say dead because it is too strong, but we had a country that was really very close to being finished, in my opinion. Yeah, let's not talk about the people who have lost their children that are deceased. And now we have the hottest country in the world. But it is one of those things, tragic things that happened. But we had a country that was dead. It was dead. Wait, I thought he didn't want to say dead. It was really in deep trouble. I was with the world. Wait, I'm at 7 minutes and 9 seconds. It was dead. It was really in deep trouble. I was with the world leaders, as they say, what you recall, your country was dead, and you have the hottest country in the world. And it sounds rough initially, but the second part of that statement is true. We have the hottest stock market. Financially, everybody will be in great shape. And we have done a good job. So maybe the reason that I am here, maybe that was part of the reason. We worked hard. We do not take big vacations. We take 10 minutes off. It seems like a lot. I think we have accomplished a lot in a short period of time. But being care was really important. And then Will talks about the blame game. The National Weather Service. It's crazy how they took out all those things. And then Trump's response to Will. These are people who have taken a pounding, up eating. They have lost their confidence, their way. It happens anytime. I think it is Trump's vote. If something happens and the other side of the country that had nothing to do with us, that had to do with them, man, the us and them is so crazy. It's so crazy. Like, we're all in this together. Okay. Had to do with them, actually. All Trumps felt a good soundbite. You say it comes over the fake news. But the news oftentimes, the Weather Service, here they were well stocked, more than normal. They actually gave a lot of warnings, and the problems with the warnings, 1 in the morning or late in the evening, it happened so fast. And it is easy to see the state or the local area, the city, whatever, and it is easy to blame on the federal government. But the money was tremendous. Everything was there, and they did a really good job. They actually had warning a day before there was going to be something. Well, having a warning that there's going to be something, and then what they had is two different animals. They then had the warnings very shortly, right before the event, right before this horrible, tragic event. The other thing, the people worked and they just reacted so well. I just met some of the first responders in the sheriff's office. I bet the ball, and they are unbelievable. I met them all and they are unbelievable. They acted so quickly. Well, yeah, that's what they do. So this is just something that happens. It is a tragedy. It is a horrible thing, but really, look at something, whether it may be an alarm system, a massive alarm system, maybe something 1 second. I skipped a tiny bit here. Maybe something can be done. That was the first thing that came to mind when you hear bad weather forecast. Do you guys hear the wind chimes? That was the first thing that came to mind. When you hear bad weather forecasts, you hear alarms. Now, I've never heard of that system being put up. Still thinking about it, maybe that would be appropriate. But an alarm went off at 1 in the morning. Maybe that would have been something that would have been good. But I want them to look at everything. But this was a case where the Weather Service really supposedly did a good job. Plus, they had more people than they would normally have. No, actually, a lot of the people there quit, right? And were fired with FEMA right before this, I think. Like, I think they had lost like 20% of their staff. They would normally have, it was a very well stocked. The warnings were early and consistent, and they kept getting more dire. Actually, they called it right, but it was, boy, it was a tough thing to watch. Okay, we're almost done here. Let me see what you guys are saying. The reporter asked him, okay, so we had a country that was almost unalive, and now he wants to unalive it all the way, and also the rest of the world. Absolutely, Annabise. Yeah, I mean, I don't think it's by accident. I think it's his intention to destroy the country and to destroy other countries for the purpose of world domination. Him and Daddy Vladdy and Bibi and the tech billionaires. Idiots. Okay, let's see. We're almost done here. 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Ten minutes and let me go to 33 seconds because Will asked him a question. Okay, here in Kerrville County is a spirit to rebuild and come back. What commitment could get it from the federal government to help us rebuild here in Texas? Wait, that was part of what Will was saying. Here's President Trump. Within minutes, we have already given to govern try this again. Within minutes, we have already given to govern their unlimited. We spoke with your congressmen and congresswomen, and we have given them acts. We have maxed out, and we will continue to max out. I just told the group we are going to help them throughout the process. They want to help and they want to rebuild. Billions. On a second. Okay, I'm at the 11-minute mark. They want to help and they want to rebuild, billions of dollars that this country gives away for things they should not be doing. Is he talking about Ukraine? Doing them. This is not billions of dollars. This is a relatively small amount of money, but it is a lot of love, and a lot of heart, and to lot a heart. So we are going to stay involved. And I told some of the people that we will stay involved very much. I think we'll just let it play out. We have some great people, some great political people here. I flew out with the plane. A lot of them senators and a number of congressmen. They wanted to be here and they wanted to be here. And I learned something. I learned that love is amazing. When you lose your daughter, you were talking about we are going to rebuild this town. Okay. Why don't I play it for you guys and see if that works better than me trying to do that transcript? That was insane. But you're still here. Thanks, my dears. Let's see. But for what? Who are they going to dominate and make money from? Ugh, the old orange man. Even if they make us all slaves, there will be no one buying their products. Well, they live in fantasy land. I mean, the ideas that these billionaire tech bros have of their utopia is, I think, a strung out, drugged out, unrealistic pipe dream. Right? I mean, they're all in their K-holes, basically. Billy, he's so gross. He is. Okay. Let's see if it's worth playing this for you guys. Get some volume going. Don't give me an ad. Come on.
As Texans, as Americans, the presidency can seem far away, focused on international affairs. It's never been something far from you to be in touch with ordinary Americans. I think it means a lot, so thank you.
Well, the people in this room and the people in this community have been unbelievable what they've gone through. Nobody's ever seen anything like it, frankly. When you have a wave that's almost 40 feet high just come rushing through this, you would think it was a dam that burst. Maybe you could understand that, but you can't understand this. And I just want to thank everybody here in the room and the community itself. It's been incredible the way they pulled together.
What you're looking at right here, Mr. President, is the brain center of search and rescue to notify, coordinate the process of notifying the next of kin, to understand the problems. You've got City of Kirkville, you've got Kirk County, you've got Texas EMS. What would you say? A lot of volunteers. What would you say to everyone?
Well, they're talented and they've got a big heart. And I just spoke to some of the people, family members who lost a child, for the most part, lost a child. They've lost everything. They've lost everything.
I just got to break it up. For the most part, lost a child. He says the weirdest crap.
In many ways. But I just think it's amazing what you're doing. And real talent in this room. I know a couple of you. I've seen you working. I've seen you at work. And you have real talent. And it's a shame because there's sometimes nothing much you can do when you see devastation like that. But amazing job that they've done.
Not every president has visited disaster zones and been here in touch with ordinary Americans. Why is it important to you to show up in Texas?
Why is it important to you to be so much better than all the other presidents that don't care about anything? Why are you so perfect and wonderful?
It's a great thing to do, and I made permanent friends in Ohio in that little community that had, remember the train going through, and it was a mess. It was a mess, and other people didn't show up for like a year and a half. And frankly, I made real friends there. We did a good job. We helped them out, and we're going to help this community too. They love each other. I just left this group of people. They just love each other. They love the community, and they're going to rebuild. They want to rebuild. I didn't hear one person. We spoke to a lot of people. Didn't hear one person that wants to leave. And some lost a daughter, 2 daughters even. And boy, it's a tough thing that they're going through. But it's an amazing community. I like to do it. I think I have an obligation.
Yeah, it is a tough thing that they're going through.
I think as president, I really have an obligation to do it. I've done it many times, but this is as bad as I've seen.
I think you're going to end up with a lot of friends in Texas. You already have a lot of friends in Texas, but you'll end up with more here in Texas.
Texas has been great, and you've been great, and you've been doing very well. I have to say, if I can interject, he's got very high ratings. The show is a big success, so we'll at least say that.
Well, thank you, Mr. President. As you mentioned, you just came from next door meeting with some of the families of victims. What did you get to share with them? What did they share with you?
Well, they told me stories, and I'm a little late for this because I didn't want to rush. Spent quite a bit of time over there. I'm very late for the governor. The governor's in there, and he's waiting with some of his people, but he fully understands. He's done a great job. He's been a terrific governor, actually. And we met him at the plane and the helicopter. We went together to get here. It's tough. It's a tough go with the roads and all the blockages and everything else. But what I learned in that room and from some other people that
I want to pause it for a second. I want to take back what I had said when I was reading the transcription, because I thought he was talking about that he was late coming to Texas because he didn't want to rush. And I took it out of context. So I apologize for that, because he was saying that he was in the room talking to the families and he was late to meet with Will because he didn't want to rush. So my bad.
I just really, how much they love their family. And I wanted them to talk. I said, you have pictures of your daughter. And they showed me pictures of their daughter, and they talked about how great a student she was in one case, and, just different things about the daughter. And I let them talk, and they were so happy to be able to talk about their child that they just lost. They can't even believe it. And sometimes you wake up in a week or 2 weeks from now and you realize what happened right now. A lot of people don't even know what happened. This happened so fast. But whatever, look, the office of president I think whoever is here has to be here for a thing like this. This is a real tragedy.
Well,
of course, a president has to be there. It's just so weird when he says things that are so obvious.
What's the emotion in that room? What are they feeling at this moment? Is it anger? Do they feel a loss of hope? What do they feel?
It was very interesting. They feel a love for the community. They wanted to rebuild. I mean, they talked about, we're going to rebuild. We're going to come back.
When you're not at home, you deserve to know your family is safe. With a Cove security system, peace of...
It's the only place that people should grow up. They talked about the community more than anything else, which is a beautiful thing. I see that sometimes. Sometimes they don't. Sometimes they want to get out of a community. I've seen that too. But they've really talked about the love of this community. The store, which is, was pretty well demolished, but the 2 walls are standing, and they want to rebuild it with those 2 walls standing. And it's very beautiful. It's cute in a certain way, but really beautiful. The love that they have for this community. It's going to rebuild. Look, it's going to be hard to say.
It's going to rebuild.
Or be like it was. Too much death. So much. I mean, right now they're looking for still a lot of people missing. But they're going to rebuild this community.
Mr. President, you have children, you have a daughter, you have grandchildren. We're approaching 1 year.
He has 2 daughters, so that's kind of weird that he didn't correct Will. Does he not think of Tiffany as his own? I don't know.
From you having a very, very narrow escape from death, do you think all of this in any way gives you a unique perspective on what's happening here and what people are experiencing here in Texas?
Well, I went through a lot. It was a crazy time, very surreal, actually. If you want to know the truth, I've got this massive crowd of people, and all of a sudden, you hear and you feel something that's very unusual. And I got down quickly, and there was, people screaming, "Get down, get down!" It was a whole.
Sometimes when he does the he reminds me so much of Archie Bunker. Like I think of him as if Archie Bunker were president. Like I feel like that's the best way to describe it, right? Or Homer Simpson, but more like Archie Bunker.
The whole thing was just crazy, and it's hard to believe a year is up, and here we are. And a lot of things have happened since then, including the presidency. So, I have an obligation to do a good job, I feel, because I was really saved. I was really saved by somebody very special. Like people that are shooters, I'm not so much of a.
I was saved by somebody very special like me. Did you catch that? And that's not in the transcript. They didn't catch that in the transcript. And he points up, I was saved by somebody very special like me. This is at the 6-minute mark. I'm at 6 minutes, 19 seconds. I'm going back to 6:05.
And we are. And a lot of things have happened since then, including the presidency. So, I have an obligation to do a good job, I feel, because I was really saved. I was really saved by somebody very special. Like people that are shooters, I'm not so much of a shooter, but people that were shooters say it's almost impossible that was a miss. I mean, it was a hit, but it was a miss.
I mean, it was a hit, but it was a miss. Again, he's given himself away. No, it was not a hit. It can't be a hit and a miss at the same time, dude.
Well, I do get that throbbing feeling every once in a while.
Is that right?
It says, yeah, a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit. But
no, I owe a lot. And I hope the reason I was saved was to save our country. We had a country that was,
I hope the reason that I was saved was to save our country. How about the world, dude? Why not the whole freaking universe? You the man.
Dead because it's too strong, but we had a country that was really very close to being finished, in my opinion.
I don't want to say dead because it's too strong.
Now we have the hottest country in the world. That's why I'm so saddened by this. But, it's one of those things, those tragic things that.
That's why I'm so saddened by this, because we have such a hot country. That's why I'm so saddened by this. This man's brain is just sizzled, fried.
Happened. But we had a country that was dead. It was dead.
But he didn't want to say dead. Who the heck is he on about?
Was really in deep trouble. I was with world leaders, and they said, a year ago your country was dead, and now you have the hottest country in the world. And it sounds rough initially, but the second part of that statement is true. We have the hottest stock market. We have financially, everyone's going to be in great shape, and we've done it.
He's forgotten about the dead children, unalived children. Talking about finances in his throbbing ear.
Good job. So maybe the reason that I'm here after Butler, maybe that was part of the reason. We've worked hard. We don't take big.
The reason that I'm here after Butler. We work hard. We don't take big vacations. No, you just go golfing like every other day. That's all.
Vacations. If we take 10 minutes off, it seems like a lot. I think we've accomplished a lot in a short period of time, but being here was very important.
It's natural. It happens after a tragedy like this that the blame game begins. Right. And almost immediately, people were trying to blame your government, trying to blame Doge cuts.
Trying to blame your government, trying to blame Doge cuts.
trying to blame the National Weather Service. We have done the facts. We have reported the truth. The National Weather Service seems to have done an exemplary job.
They did.
DOJ seemed to have had no effect. But what would you say to those that are looking to blame politics for what just happened here?
Well, these are people that have taken a pounding, a beating.
No one's blaming politics for what happened there. I mean, sure, you could look at it from that perspective, but it's more like the lag in timing for sounding the alarm, the lag in timing for Kristi Noem. She took 5 days to arrive. She waited until after the weekend passed. I can't wait until I never hear that blowhard ever again. I know. I don't usually play him because I have trouble watching him. And I was watching Hal Sparks today. Hal Sparks plays him a lot and breaks it up with a lot of snarky commentary. And there's times when that's like the only way I can watch the rat bastard. But today I was like, I just can't. I can't be listening to this blowhard. That's a good thing to call him. Me too. Can't wait. Yeah. So this has about 4 more minutes. Let's ride it out.
They've lost their confidence. They've lost their way. It happens anytime there's anything. It's Trump's fault. You could have something happen on the other side of the country that had nothing to do with us, that had to do with them, actually. And there's, it's Trump's fault. It's just like a soundbite. You see it. It comes over to the fake news or the news.
He's just so full of himself. People don't really care about him as much as he wishes we did. Not everything is about him, but he sure wishes it was. It's Trump's fault.
But the fake news oftentimes. And no, the weather service here, if they were actually well stocked, more than normal, they actually gave a lot of warnings. And the problem with the warnings, it was 1 o'clock in the morning or it was late in the evening, and it happened so fast. And it's easy to say the state or the local area, the city.
And the old man grunt man is cray cray.
Whatever. But and it's easy to blame the federal government, but the money was tremendous. Everything was there, and they did a really good job. They actually had warnings a day before that there was going to be something, and they then had the warnings very shortly, right before the event, right before this horrible, tragic event. The other thing, the people worked, and they just reacted so well. I just met some of the first responders, the sheriff's office. I met them all. And they are unbelievable. They acted so quickly. So this is just something that happens. It's a tragedy. It's a horrible thing. But really, and you look at something, whether it's maybe an alarm system, a massive alarm system, there's something maybe can be done. That was the first thing came to mind when you hear a bad weather forecast, you hear alarms. Now, I've never heard of that system being put up. You start thinking about it, though, maybe that would be something appropriate. But, if an alarm went off at 1 o'clock in the morning, maybe that would have been something that would have been good. But
yeah, I'd say that would have been something that would have been good. Hey, Sarah Della, nice to see you. How you doing tonight?
I want them to look
How
for
you
everything
doing?
anyway, but this was a case where the Weather Service really supposedly did a very good job. Plus, they had more people than they would normally have. They actually it was very well stocked. Their warnings were early and consistent, and they kept getting more dire. Actually, they called it right. But it was, it's a tough thing to watch.
Well, I'm glad to hear that what you're hearing from people here in Kerrville, in Kerr County, is a spirit to rebuild, to come back. What commitment can you give from the federal government to help us rebuild here in Texas?
Well, we've already given the governor unlimited within minutes. And we spoke with your congressman and congresswomen, and we've given them max. We've maxed out, and we'll continue to max out. And I just told the group we're going to help them throughout the process. They want to help and they want to rebuild. And the billions of dollars that this country gives away for things that they shouldn't be doing. And this is not billions of dollars. This is a relatively small amount of money, but it's a lot of love. It's a lot of love and a lot of heart. And so we're going to stay involved. And I told Chip, I told some of the people that we're going to stay involved very much. Brian Babbitt's involved also. He's right down the road, congressman. And we have some great people, some great political people here. I flew out with a plane load of them, you two senators and a number of congress people. And they wanted to be here, and I wanted to be here, and I'm glad I did. And I learned something. I learned the love that they have. It's amazing when you lose your daughter and you're talking about we're going to rebuild this town. It's pretty tough to do.
Again, it means a lot that you're here. Thank you, Mr. President.
Thank you very much. Congratulations.
When you lose your daughter and you're saying we're going to rebuild this town, when you lose your daughter and you were talking about we are going to rebuild this town. Where's my water? Water, where'd you go? There you are. Got like a little dust ball in my throat. Sarah has a apartment inspection tomorrow. That's a little stressful, huh? Prayer for people, my friend in heaven, Shelly, those in war, we need peace, garbage cans, and public restrooms. Yeah. The war is crazy. So this just has a couple more seconds. Just a goodbye.
Thank you.
My thanks to President Trump and to the First Lady. And my thanks to you. It's been a tough week, and I appreciate your attention and your investment. Hey, it's Will Kane. Click here to subscribe to the Fox News channel on
Will
YouTube.
Kane. Will Kane with Fox News. So, yeah, you lost a friend, Shelly. How long ago did you lose Shelly? So sad. I can't imagine what those people are going through. It's so heartbreaking. Absolutely. It's insane. Losing a child, that's got to be the worst thing imaginable. Absolutely. But yeah, so that was last 4th of July. It was absolutely tragic. And here we are, 8 days into a war that was supposed to last 4 days. And then today there was an announcement from El Presidente that it was over and we won. And then there was a bunch of backpedaling, and yeah, it's pretty nutty. It's pretty nutty. I mean, I don't know what to say. Commentary on the war. It is very sad for the people that have lost their lives. And I don't want to be a conspiracy theorist about this, but I have a feeling there's a lot more than the 8 people that we've been told about, the 8 Americans that have lost their lives. It started with 4, then it got bumped up 2 more, then it got bumped up another 2 more. I just don't know. It's like I'm bracing myself. My son is active duty. And my other son, if, he's ready to sign up for the Air Force, and he's 18. So if there was a draft, he'd be drafted if he's not already in the Air Force. He hasn't signed up yet, but he says he's gonna. So sorry you lost your friend, Anna B says to Sarah. Me too. I'm wondering how long. Is it something new, or is it something you've been struggling with for a while? Yes, 1985, Shelley Wiley, Laramie, Wyoming. The police know who did it and have more than enough evidence to convict. Nothing happened with Shelley Wiley case. So I remember the Laramie, Wyoming case with the kid, like the trans kid who got beaten. They made that movie about it, Boys Don't Cry. But is it something that I can Google? Let me see. If I Google Shelley Wiley, will something come up? I'm so sorry. Yeah, 85. That was a long time ago. That's like 41 years ago. Makes you wonder. I mean, I know a lot of homicides don't get solved. It's very sad. The coldest case in Laramie, Wikipedia. The Coldest Case in Laramie is a true crime podcast produced by Serial Productions and the New York Times and hosted by Kim Barker. The 8-episode podcast debuted February 23rd, 2023. Interesting. 4 hours and 2 minutes. 8 episodes. The podcast is about a cold case, the unsolved murder of Shelley Wiley, a 22-year-old student at the University of Wyoming, that took place in 1985 in Laramie, Wyoming. After she was unalived, her home was set on fire. Barker, who grew up in Laramie and has worked as a war reporter in Afghanistan. Oh, wait, Barker, is that the person who did the, yeah, that's the host. Sorry, I had to go back and check that out. Barker, who grew up in Laramie and has worked as a war reporter in Afghanistan and as a correspondent in New Delhi and Islamabad, started investigating the case during the COVID-19 pandemic. The podcast contains archival audio related to the case. The show was criticized by James Marriott in the Times, who said that the idea that anyone could consider this horrible tragedy a promising source of entertainment baffles me. That's disgusting, James Marriott. A promising source of entertainment. Do you understand the concept of justice? Hello? And having people's stories be told so that they don't get forgotten about. I mean, the more publicity that's brought to a case, the higher the chances are of it being solved. It puts pressure on the authorities, and somebody might know something that sees or hears the podcast and connects something. I mean, it's a good thing to talk about those things. Yeah, it's not just a source of entertainment. That's so disgusting. I mean, it's so crazy how people that want to judge true crime aficionados as if they are into like horror flicks. It's like it's a totally different thing. At least the way I sees it. Look at this silly baby girl. This silly baby girl with the bell-bottom legs. Oh, she's so cute. With all of her whiskers and all of her fur. She is a fur ball. An absolute fur ball. I am so sorry, Sarah. Were you the same age as her? She was 22. Ugh. Were you in this small town when it happened? Like, that is nuts. Laramie's a very small town. I don't know how small. I didn't know they had the university there. Laramie. I'm always interested in the population of places. Population 30,000. That's pretty big. 31,000. It's the fourth most populous city in Wyoming. Southeastern Wyoming. Is Wyoming big sky country or is that Montana? That's Wyoming, isn't it? 30,000 is a good size. When I lived in Olympia, Washington, it was about that size. It's a small town, a small city, a big town, basically. Let's see. There's probably many more. Oh, Jazz, I'm sorry, that's so crazy. Yes, Brace. I know our family has been in war for as long as I remember. Sending prayers. Frederick Lamb was almost in court for Shelley. Barker is the journalist. It's not entertainment. Yes, exactly, Jazz. It's to bring attention to the case and bring answers, hopefully. And yeah, just to remember the victims too, just to kind of breathe life into their memory so they're not forgotten about. She's so dang cute. I know, isn't she? Cheeseball, come here, honey pot. Come here. But yeah, we should wrap up. I said I was going to be on for just a short, quick video, and then I got all stumbled into my transcribing crap. Thanks for hanging in there with me through it. And these damn braces, it's so hard to talk with these braces. OMG. Only 11 more months, I keep telling myself. Okay. I am 2 years younger. I had her taking care of my FFA lamb. I don't know what an FFA lamb is. Is that like a 4-H kind of thing? We were friends. So you were 20 and she was 22. See, I was, how old was I? I think I was like 26 when, no, I would have been more like 25 when my sister's friend was red rummed in Seattle, Mia Zapata, and she was 27. And I wasn't like friends with Mia. I was friends with her friends. My sister was really tight with her, and I had other friends that were tight with her. And I think I met her 2 times, maybe 3 times. And then I met her whole family 6 weeks after it happened at my sister's wedding. And yeah, Mia Zapata, a life cut very short, very, very short. She was lead singer for the Gits. So it got a lot of publicity, and it was a cold case. It was unsolved for 10 years. And then it got solved, allegedly. I still think that Kurt Cobain's widow had more to do with it than the man that got put in prison for it. I think he was a party to it, but I think that Kurt Cobain's widow was a party to it also. So, let's see. But yeah, I knew another woman who was red rummed when I was really little. She was my grandparents' next door neighbor in the military when they lived at I think it was called Fort Monmouth in New Jersey on an army base, and she was red rummed in her apartment. It was kind of like a copycat Manson murder. And I went to her wedding when I was, I think, 5 or 6. And she told me that she wanted me to be the flower girl, but she had a relative that she was obligated to be her flower girl. And then years later, my grandmother told me that she got taken out, and she was pregnant too, like Sharon Tate. And I was just devastated. I think I was 7 when my grandmother told me about it. It was just mind blowing. So I want to say those are the only 2 people that I've known that were red rummed. And yeah, it's awful. It's absolutely awful. I think it's the worst way to lose someone. I've said it before, but I'll say it again. Like, it's awful to lose anybody to anything, even old age and natural causes. But accidents, I think, are much harder than old age and natural causes. And self-injury is even harder than an accident, in my opinion. I've known people that have passed from those things. And then having the darkness of a person taking a life. Well, there's a few people that I've known more recently in my adult life that have been red rummed too. But I think about that differently because with my husband being in law enforcement, I don't know. I think I have more of like a almost like a professional distance from the people that I've known in my adult years that have been victims like that. And it's gross. It's gross that someone can do that to another person, and that anybody can do that to another person, to your person, that some jack off can take your person from you. And then to not know who it is so sad. And, everyone is a suspect. It's awful. It just tears people apart to not know and to not be able to trust. Wyoming is first women's vote. My nephew was married to someone from Laramie, small world. Future Farmers of America. Oh, awesome. Yeah, so it is like 4-H. So she was taking care of your Future Farmers of America lamb. Oh, and lambs are so symbolic, like the lion and the lamb. That's awesome that you were in the Future Farmers of America. See, I live near Springfield, Ohio, where 4-H started. And actually, my great-grandfather helped start 4-H. It started right in Springfield, where they eat the cats and the dogs. But they don't. They do not. I'm so sorry about Mia. Oh, thank you. Yeah, Mia Zapata, you can look her up. There's a lot. I've done a lot of videos about her. And there's a lot of documentaries about her. It was a high profile case. It was on Unsolved Mysteries, and there's like a full documentary movie about her. She was a singer for a punk rock band, and Joan Jett tried to be the singer for the band, but it just didn't work out. Like, nobody felt like Mia could be replaced, but Joan Jett's very cool, and the Gits really appreciated her, and she did raise a lot of money for them. And Mia was friends with Kurt Cobain. He raised a lot of money for her too. A lot of the Seattle bands raised money to keep the investigation going, the private investigator, for years. I think they had a private investigator full time for 7 years, I think. And then they gave up. They didn't think they'd ever solve it. And then after 10 years, there was like a big spread in the Seattle paper, 2 full pages the 10-year anniversary, and then it was right after that that they got a hit with the DNA in the CODIS. And I went to the sentencing hearing of the trial. It was in the same courthouse that I had worked in, the King County Superior Court in downtown Seattle. A horrible place. Absolutely horrible place. Let's see. I was 21. Where did that go? I was 21 in 1985. That's when my daughter was born. See, I graduated high school in 1985, my dear. That's so young to have a baby, a bambino. I had undercover police following me for a while, not anymore though. Related to that, Sarah, because of your friend or something else? That's nerve-wracking, huh? I've only known one person who was red rummed. I have known him since first grade. He's still considered as missing, but I have heard rumors. He's been missing since 2004. Oh, damn. See, I had a friend whose son went missing. It was in 2019, and he was found 3 months later. And that was horrible. That was absolutely horrible. He was 26. Very, very tragic. And yeah. And somebody confessed to the crime and got a plea deal, but I don't think they acted alone. So it's really not justice. And it was a friend of his, a friend of me, right? Oh no, Anna, may all missing be found. Yeah. Well, yeah, like Nancy Guthrie, man. Like Nancy Guthrie. Shelley was so sweet. That is so sad. Do you have any idea who did it to Mia? So this guy, I don't even like to remember his name. I think it was Jesus Mazica or something like that. And he was Cuban, and he was in Florida when he got arrested for Grand Theft Auto. And so they put his DNA into the CODIS, and it came up a match for the DNA that was found on her corpse. And so he was sentenced to like 26 years to the maximum. And like I said, I went to the sentencing hearing. He got the maximum plus 10. The judge threw an extra 10 at him. And I remember her saying it was for like the unnecessary brutality of the crime. And I was just like, what? Red rum is not unnecessary brutality. But it was also, it was a grape, an essay. And he did some treacherous things to her that aren't well known. It wasn't really part of the case, but that's what the judge was alluding to when she said an extra 10 years for the unnecessary brutality, because he staged her body. He dumped her in the middle of the street, and he positioned her like a cross. And trigger warning, it was on Yesler. It was Yesler and 12th, which is like right on Capitol Hill, like the south end of Capitol Hill, right above Pioneer Square, which is a really cute part of the city. But Yesler and 12th is a really rough neighborhood, and it was right in front of a fire station. But he dumped her there at like probably 3 a.m. And like I said, trigger warning, he bit off some of her. That was where they found the DNA, was from the bites. And he trigger warning. He disemboweled her. I'll just say it. And then I was talking about it recently. It was in July of 1993, I think. But whenever it was like 3 months, 2 months before Nirvana's album In Utero came out, and the artwork on In Utero matches. So to me, that's more evidence that, because like I said, Kurt was friends with her, and his wife was very jealous of anybody and everybody, and especially talented musicians that were female. So Mia was one of 3 talented musicians that were female that passed away 3 years in a row, almost on the anniversary of each other, which is also Kurt's widow's birthday. So the first one was Stephanie Sargent from 7 Year Bitch, and also gorgeous and extremely talented. And then Mia was the second one. And then the third one was Kristen Pfaff, who was in Hole. She was the bass player, and she allegedly was having an affair with Kurt. And Kristen Pfaff was like 4 months after Kurt Cobain's passing. So I'm not the only one who connects them either. I mean, I don't think a lot of people do, because a lot of people don't know as much as I know from, I wasn't living in Seattle at the time. I was living in Portland, but that's just a couple hours away. And like I said, it was just the whole music scene that I wasn't really a part of that music scene, but my friends were. So, yeah. And like I said, all of the stuff like the essay, that was kept under wraps. Like, people didn't know about that until after it was solved. And then the whole thing with the unnecessary violence, that's very much not known. So I think it's been long enough that it's okay to talk about it. And I think that it's important because of, like, it took me years to realize that the In Utero album came out 2 months later, and that it was a very accurate depiction. It's insane, isn't it? And I'm not saying that Kurt Cobain had anything to do with it, because he loved Mia. He was devastated. But with 7 Year Bitch was a very popular band on Capitol Hill. The Gits was a very popular band on Capitol Hill. And then basically the competition was gone. And then who became like the little darling of the female punk rock bands? Huh? So yeah, to answer your question, Sarah, thanks for asking. I don't know why the police were following me. Oh, was this more recently? It was around the same time as Shelley. Oh, okay. So that might be why, because your lamb, you had the connection with her. They were probably just like checking out everybody, right? I hope Nancy Guthrie's found. I know, it's awful. How terrible. So sorry. I love music, all kinds. Yeah, Mia wrote the songs for the band. There's one song called Second Skin that's like one of their songs that's really catchy that I still think about. I'm not much into the punk rock scene. I'm a big Joan Jett fan, but but yeah, I'm a huge fan of creativity and people who write their own music. I just think that's amazing. And she came to a voice class that I was doing at Evergreen because one of my friends was in the voice class, and um, he invited her because he was so excited about her and her punk rock stuff. But she was really funny because she was like a really like shy girly girl from Lexington, Kentucky, and she didn't look like a punk rocker unless she was like doing her thing. Like she was a different person when she was on stage. Like everybody said that about her. Like she was just, it was pretty wild to watch. So, and when she came to Evergreen and practiced with us in our voice class, she was doing more like classical stuff, and she was dressed more like a goody two shoes. So she was really cute. Whether she was dressed like goody two shoes or all punked out, she was adorable. She was a very, very good looking, talented young woman. I was told by, wait, let's see. I love all kinds of music too, except country. I like to say I like both kinds of music, Western and country. I like both kinds, but that's a big, big fat joke. Um, I was told by the police not to talk about Shelley, but her father has passed away. Her sister and niece are without Shelley Wiley. Well, see, Sarah, my perspective with my channel and with my life experience is that something like that, like the police asking you not to talk about it, it makes me suspicious of them, because either that they have some kind of involvement or that they feel so incompetent that they haven't figured it out, that they don't want the attention drawn to them. So either corruption or incompetence, and either one is intolerable. Like there's got to be transparency with the law. It's the law that the law is transparent, right? I love Joan Jett too. I saw her in concert. You know who I saw in concert? One of my favorite female musicians who's still rocking it is Suzanne Vega. Love her. I've seen her perform a handful of times. Cool fashion sense. Yes. Yeah. So Google Mia Zapata if you're interested. And yeah, after 40 years with your friend, I mean, you never know. The thing I started to say about Mia's case was that her family, after the 7 years after they quit paying the private investigator, they decided that they were just going to have to live with her case being unsolved, and they figured that it would never be solved. So when it was solved 3 years after they terminated with the full-time private investigator, it was kind of traumatic for it to be solved, because it just was another adjustment. It was another adjustment. And then, it just brings everything up. And like I said, I think that that guy Jesus was involved. But I think that that more than, I don't think it was a random act. So I think that he pretended that it was a random act, but I think that it was contracted. I think he was paid, basically. And that's my opinion. So, yes, emotions are hard to deal with. Yeah, and it's, the transition is hard to deal with. And then also when it's solved, and then when someone's convicted and somebody's sentenced, and you think that you're going to have some kind of peace and closure and satisfaction, and there's none of that. That's a farce. There's no closure. The justice system is, you know, leaves a lot to be desired. So he appealed his conviction because the judge threw the extra 10 years in there. He went through a big appeal process. So while that was happening, that was also very emotional for the family. And, you know, there was the potential of him being released when he was like 80 something, because he was like 50 when he got sentenced. He was around 50, but then he allegedly passed away from COVID in prison. And again, like, knowing what I know, he could have been silenced in prison. Like, that's very convenient that he passed away, in my opinion. So yeah, another thing I started to say is that Kurt's widow allegedly was sleeping with the police chief of Seattle at the time, and also the coroner. And that's no joke, and that's not just rumor. That's for real, as far as I know. And all four of those people, the three females and Kurt, they were all in that same jurisdiction. They were all like right there on Capitol Hill. So very convenient that somebody was in bed with the police chief and the coroner. Crazy. Isn't that just perfect for her? Yes, very convenient. Yikes. At least she didn't knock down my water. I don't even know what she knocked down. Oh, it was my phone. That's what I thought. Thank goodness it wasn't my water. Okay, you guys, I'm going to say goodnight before we go on. And it is 12:45. Again, it doesn't even feel like it's midnight yet because daylight savings. The DNA lab supervisor in Cheyenne, Wyoming, was taken off duty for doctor labs. For doctoring labs. Yeah. The coroners are known for being easily corruptible because, you know, they don't get paid that much, medical examiners. But they can do favors for people and get big financial favors from people. Good night, everyone. Daylight savings sucks. And yeah, it sucks too when your dog bonks your glasses. Silly puppy. Isn't she so silly? I'm going to wear her for my hat. All right. Thanks for hanging out, people. Sending you lots of love, and hope you get good rest. Drink your water. Eat your protein and your veggies. And what else? Yeah. Most importantly, just be, right? That is the most important thing for all of us, is just to be who we are and to play with our puppy dogs and kitty cats. Have a great night and talk to you soon. Yeah, gonna watch Silver Lake. I'm gonna check that out too. I did start the Putin's Kiss movie, the documentary, and it looks very interesting. There's a ton of Putin movies that I didn't know about that I don't know if I might have to study up. Yuck. All right. Thanks for being here. See you on the next one.